So last night I was just sitting alone in my apartment, and I don't know why, but all of a sudden I just kind of stopped believing in God. I was just like trying to pray, and I just couldn't pray. I was just like, this is the millionth time I've prayed, and I'm still in the same situation. And it's been this way for 10 years, where I've just sort of like I would try to pray, I'd pray, and then nothing really changes. It just stays the same. And maybe that's a fault of choices that I've made throughout my life. But at the same time, like I'm not like what was I supposed to do? And I don't know. Like I went to school for 3 years. I could have graduated with a degree and had a lot more debt because my scholarship had run out. I had a 4-year scholarship, but it ran out or something. I can't remember what happened, but like I couldn't use it for the last year. And even if I'd done that, I'd be in some job that I really don't like. And besides that, I'm too nervous around people to really I can't even chill out, I can't even like remain calm. Sometimes I can, but not usually. Usually it's like I'm just like nervous the whole time. The whole time, man. And I was just thinking about like how life is just so monotonous, and I don't even really mind monotony that much. Like, I don't really mind like if like life's boring. Like I prefer that over like over like an exciting life. Although if I had an exciting like adventurous life, that might be cool too. But I kind of like having like a nonchalant, like relaxed kind of life. So it's not the worst thing in the world to be stuck in my apartment alone. But still, I'm sitting here thinking like, why me? Like, why am I stuck in my apartment without a wife, without kids, at the age of 30? And no woman has ever given me the chance to marry her or to get married to me. And even if they had, like they could divorce me and then I would be screwed. And the only reason I can think to get married is to have kids so that you're not alone when you're older. I don't know, it's just kind of crazy how like I don't know, I just can't believe in God. I that's what I say, but like then I still sort of believe in God. Like there's still a part of me that still thinks that like God's probably real. But then I've never seen the evidence of God. Except I've seen evidence of Satan. But I don't know if that's just me going crazy or not. And I don't know if that's just a psychological issue. My mind is conjuring. See, these are things that like I wouldn't have conjured up on my own. And psychology says like that's part of your subconscious mind, that things you don't realize that you're conjuring up or whatever when you see things that aren't really there. And maybe they're just demons. Because I don't think I didn't come up with like a demon thing. I guess I could have, but I don't know. I do have a creative mind. I'm an author. I write like creative fiction. So not for a living. I just do it as a hobby, but Yeah, so I think I stopped believing in God for now. I just don't think that. And here's the thing: when I was homeless, I didn't really believe in God or pray or anything. And I was out in the winter. All I did was like panhandle and like go to homeless shelters, and I figured all that out on my own. Like I don't know, I didn't ask God for help, you know. And you might say, well, like God helped you throughout all of that, and maybe He did, maybe He didn't, you know. Like I think like there's not really a way to tell, you know. All I know is that I knew what to do because I'm not dumb, and I can figure out problems, you know. Like, you know, problem one, I'm homeless and I need somewhere to go so I don't die of frostbite. So the solution is find a homeless shelter, and the only way to do that in New York City was to walk to a homeless shelter, and then they move you between different homeless shelters. So there was just 4 months, and I probably would have died if I wouldn't have called my dad afterwards, which I didn't want to do because he wanted to work me to death in his factory, and I just didn't want. Anyway, I didn't want to do that. That's why I went homeless to begin with, because like he said he's gonna work me like a slave in a factory that he owned, and I was just like I was just like I'm gonna try my odds, like see if I can get an apartment or something on my own, away from my family. But then the winter got too cold, and they wouldn't give me any like housing right away, so it was just like I had to go back with him, which was a better alternative than freezing to death, I guess. I'd say God didn't really help me too much there. I just sort of went nuts and like just stayed calm after a while. And then I tried to work, and yeah, at the factory, and yeah. Anyway, though, that's a story for another time. Uh, yeah, I just with how things are in the world, like I don't see, like maybe there is a God, you know, like I don't know. Just all of a sudden last night, I was like, man, maybe there isn't a God. Like, like my life wouldn't look like this. Maybe it's my fault, but maybe it's not. You know. If you think about it, like you really like my main argument against God would be that you have to be self-reliant. You can't just pray for things to happen for you, because they're not gonna happen. Like, you know what I mean? And if they do, like, it's coincidental usually. At least it seems like it. And like, just it was something that was gonna happen anyway, or it was something that that's like something that like a woman does to like a woman might pray for like a good birthday present from her boyfriend, and like that's gonna happen like no matter what, you know, because her boyfriend's a simp or whatever the hell, he's got a lot of money, and he's gonna get her the best thing ever so she doesn't leave him, you know. Like that's all that is. So there's that. I mean, you could say like maybe somebody prays for a better job position, but they've been working there for 10 years, and they're way overdue for a better job position, and then they get the job position. Well, maybe that's kind of not inevitable, but like kind of expected, you know. You know, it's probably gonna happen. You don't really need a prayer for that, probably, but I don't know. And it's just as a consequence of that man's work ethic, basically, and like skill. I don't know. I guess I adopted like kind of the Daryl Dixon mentality that like didn't do this with God in the first place, and I didn't need God now. It's like an old like non-believer sort of self-reliance kind of attitude, because you got to figure something out when things go south, and you can't just sit there and pray. Even if you pray and then figure it out. Like, I found that it helps if I don't pray, and if I just start thinking, yeah, I might die, and then, okay, I don't want to die, so like I need to figure out something. Like, if you're out stuck in the cold of winter like I was that many years ago, homeless, and you don't have a way to not freeze to death, well, then you better make your way to a homeless shelter. Yeah. And there was no way for me to find a homeless shelter except for from the kindness and the help of other people. They just told me where it was. I would just ask some random guy in the street, "Where's the nearest homeless shelter?" And then they would direct me. They would just point this way and then go over here, and then I would just go and find it. Maybe that was God, but at the same time, like, maybe that was just somebody trying to be helpful. Maybe they believed in God or something. Everybody who helped me, but I think they were just kind of doing their jobs and stuff. Like, because a lot of them were working. Like, a lot of them were like street standers and stuff. Maybe they just wanted to help somebody in need. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a lot of suffering for there to be a God. You might say, well, that's the devil. And it's like, well, yeah, but God allowed the devil to be alive. It's like, well, or whatever. Like, there's a hell and there's a heaven. That's maybe the only reason I really believed in God. It was because I really wanted to believe that some people would go to hell, and that some people at least would go to heaven. The people who deserved to go to heaven would go to heaven, and people who deserved to go to hell would go to hell. Like, that's maybe the only reason why I might still believe in God, just because there might be some kind of just punishment for these people, for some of these people who have just done the wrongest things in the world, and the rightest things in the world. That's maybe one reason why I might still continue to believe in God, but but as far as like practical things go, like doing practical things like building something or trying to find somewhere, or trying to survive off the land, like building a garden or something, like I don't know, I don't depend on God for those things. I like depend on the environment, the earth, and my own resourcefulness. Like, that's what I depend on. And yeah, right now I'm depending on the government, but I have a mental health disorder apparently. But yeah, I don't know. Whatever, I gotta figure this out eventually.